Oh, welcome everyone to one of the best shows I'm gonna do this season. Voodoo, hoodoo, all gone, Happy as Larry settings, no draws, no dropped points, just 3-point collectors at the Emirates. And I'm telling you guys, I'm on zero sleep, but I just couldn't wait to do this show. And I had to bring in some of the boys. I had to bring in some backup. I had to bring in some smiling faces, some gooners. I tried to bring in a City fan. I tried to. But you know what? I got more luck. Right, honestly, more luck of winning the lotto than finding a City fan. I swear, they're just not around. You know what I mean? I haven't got time to go digging around through the desert to find a City fan. So instead of that, I brought us some loyal Arsenal fans that made his debut on my channel. Didn't even realize this, but Brenny, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me in Akpos, mate. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. I am doing great, and thank you for having me on your channel for the first time. And blessed to there he is, my bro. And yeah, man, it was. I'm still buzzing after yesterday's result, and to big up to you guys, my brothers, my worldwide gooners. We are everywhere.
I've just woken up, and now look at the wife and guy here.
Steve, I don't know if you can hear it, but I think something is a little bit off with your mic today. Maybe really? You should talk. Yeah.
Very distorted.
Something is a little bit.
Jump off.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Branny, nice to meet you. And I was just saying backstage that it's good to be on the stream with you. And I didn't even realize that I've been on the stream with your brother. Big up DJ Damos. And just like you are, and Steve was rightly taking care of business on the show. We are all excited to be on this one because for me, I felt definitely. This dominance of Manchester City in the league games every time we played them since 2015. I felt like it's one that has gone for so long, and it was due for us to break it. And we also have how much it meant to the players who were on the pitch, how much it meant to the fans who were in the stands, and for people who can see our faces now, they could actually tell how much this victory meant to us. But Brenny, tell us what's your take on this victory? Because for me, this is a very big one. But let's get your own perspective. What's your take on this victory?
Do you know what, Akpos? It's a statement win. You know, this is a statement win. It doesn't decide the title. We know that. We've still got our feet on the ground. You know, it was a very hard-earned 3 points. Like our boy Gums has said yesterday, it was a very disciplined performance. You know what I mean? And it was a great defensive performance as well. It's been a long time coming because I felt that in previous games, if home and away, you could see there was fear within the players of the past under Arsene Wenger, Emery, Arteta in his early years with as manager. You could see that there was fear on the pitch, and at times over the years we'd just be, we have possession because we've always been good in possession, regardless of who's in charge for many, many years, and we would just lose possession, not win the ball back. We'd be defensive, we'd be scared. Yesterday, there was that fear. Was worried about Raya. Oh my God, but it was as if to say. It's like there was this belief. We had no Bukayo Saka. And as the game went on, there was this belief as if to say, oh, we've been getting our asses whooped for so long. We can do this. We can do this. And in the second half, it showed we were the better team in that second half. But it's a very sweet victory. It's a statement win. And all we have to do is we have to keep pushing on. We've just beaten the best team in Europe. We're one of the best team in the world. They went at the races, we went at the races, but we did a performance that if anyone interviews George Graham now, George Graham would have been proud of that performance from a defensive perspective, you know. So yeah, no, I'm still buzzing.
What
Still
1-0 to the Arsenal? Well, if I would want to add to what Brenny just Benny's dissection of the game, going into that game, I was not confident, and I said it on the preview show. Losing the fact that we were going to be without one of our best players, Bukayo Saka, and I actually predicted a draw because I was not very confident that we were going to get a victory after the performance against Lens. But I think this team, they actually shocked me yesterday, because one thing a lot of people said about us last season was we benefited from the other teams dropping off. That was the excuse some opposition fans were trying to give, that we benefited from the fact that some of the so-called top teams were not performing at their best, that we were just a one-season wonder, and that is the most we could do. But I think we went against the best team in all of the planets. If aliens existed, I think the Manchester City team proved last season that they were the best team in all of the planets, and we got the best out of them. And Brent talked about how that fear that's been there in the minds of the players every time they come to face with Manchester City. And for the first couple of minutes, I think the first 20-25 minutes, there was this fear there. We could see that we were playing with that fear, but we grew into the game. Yeah. And I think that has to tell us that we are learning. Experience, they say, comes with how much you have done it. Our players did it last season. We fell short, and I think they are learning. It showed that yesterday's game showed that our players are growing. We are growing into games. We were very naive last season. There were some games where I felt like we threw the games away. But yesterday we were able to, get into those 50-50 tackles. We were not losing those half balls. We're making sure that the players gave their all, and also the manager. I think this is going to be a Mikel Arteta appreciation show. The manager also is learning from his mistakes last season, because somebody who's like a brother to me was just complaining after the Lens game about Mikel Arteta's substitution. And what he was saying after this game was he felt like Mikel is learning from his mistakes. His substitutions actually changed the tide of that game. And what we could see is, if we had a fit Thomas Partey from the start of that game with what he brought to that midfield, we would have gotten the game done way more earlier. And I think it confirms it for those who were doubting who our best midfield three is for us this season. I think yesterday's game confirms it, that if we have a midfield three of Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard, I think we will be able to go toe-to-toe with all of the best teams in the world. So for me, it was a big win. Kudos to the team, kudos to the manager, and this victory against the best team in the world shows that we are actually growing and we are learning from the mistakes we made from last season. And I'm excited for what the rest of the season holds for this team.
Look, I couldn't agree with both of you anymore. To be honest, I'm Brenny in sort of to a rebuttal to what you were saying earlier, that we were sort of, very defensive. There wasn't many chances created by Arsenal and or City. I feel as if, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel as if these two teams nullified each other. It was difficult for both these teams to try to take a hold of the scruff of the neck of this game. And in my opinion, Arsenal Football Club is probably playing the best team in Europe at the moment, presently. And they couldn't break us down. They have their injuries. We have ours. They've got depth on the bench. We have some. And they still couldn't break us down. Apart from the Raya mistakes, I believe the outfield players that even started in the first half, maybe apart from Trossard, hold their heads up high, including Jorginho. I believe that City kind of met their match at the Emirates. They thought they were going to come in, grab their 3 points and leave. They didn't realize that it was going to be a different Arsenal they were facing here. And I think that this brand of Arsenal that came to the Emirates was a honed Arsenal, a team that came in that was ready to go blood and guts, was ready to go 95 minutes if we have to and hold on and see if we can get it right at the end. I think it was a chess game, in my opinion. all the way through, all the way through.
And I think the apprentice actually showed that it could get the best from the master, and we saw a Mikel Arteta masterclass yesterday. I felt like he got all the decisions spot on. And one thing I want to say is we had our players decided to step up yesterday also, because there are times in games last season where I felt like our so-called experienced heads let us down, let the team down. People should, step up to the plate when the team is a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But we saw a player like Jorginho come into the team, somebody who has not played a lot this season, came into the team yesterday and make sure that he did all of the instructions from the coach. He got a yellow card. I was even scared for him after he got the yellow card, but he actually got the job done. I think he held his own when we needed to tackle, when he needed to distribute the ball. And there's this comment from Gunnar Forever talking about Odegaard's decision. Yesterday, we were without one of our best players, Bukayo Saka. We had another of our best player having an off day in Martin Odegaard. But this team still had other players who stepped up. This is what I want to see from the team. When one player is having a little bit of dip in form, other players should step up. That is why it's a team sport. So we can't be over-reliant on the star players to be always bringing in the goods. Everybody needs to contribute their own quarter for this team to get to where we want them to be. Because I was just looking at some of the things Gabriel Martinelli said after the game in his interview, where he was saying he's not the man, that everybody in this team contributed to this victory. And that's spot on for me. Every player contributed to the victory from yesterday. So kudos to all of the guys who even came into this team and step up for the team.
Oh, honestly, I couldn't agree with you more. I do believe that. Look, Martin Odegaard didn't have his best game. He didn't. But again, he's usually part of an overload on the right-hand side. You get what I'm saying? He usually shifts to the right-hand side with Bukayo Saka, and having Jesus out of position isn't going to make it easy. But no excuses. It is Manchester City is facing. And for me, I watched this game, and I'm looking at. I want to start with our centre back pairings, both Gabriel and William Saliba in this game. In this game, these two guys, in my opinion, were an absolute brick wall. William Saliba was making it look easy. He was coming in finesse, controlling the ball. Erling Haaland did not have one shot on target or even in the whole game. And I literally put that towards Gabriel and William Saliba. Guys, what do you make with this partnership of William Saliba and Gabriel as it's growing? What do you make of their sort of, can I say, their partnership in this game against Manchester City? I'll throw it at you, Brenny. I know you would have noticed it here and there, but in my opinion, I know Raya was letting us down and scaring the living daylights out of us, but at no time was I worried about Gabriel or William Saliba. I don't know about you, but what was your opinion on their performance in this game?
I'll tell you, man, after yesterday's performance and the way before Saliba got ended, Saliba was injured, last season, they struck up a fantastic partnership. 2 seasons ago, we was worried about Gabriel. I don't worry about him anymore. And, and it's the same. And with Saliba, we know what he's all about. These two are getting better. We're going to have to call him Ashford and Simpson after that. What's that song? Solid as a Rock. So, and that's what they are. And for me, it was the best. I'm not just saying it because it was City, but for me, that was the best partnership victory I'd ever seen. That performance yesterday between the two was it was incredible defensive performance. And to add, for me, I'm not just saying, people may disagree with this, but it's the best centre back pairing I have seen since Campbell and Toure. And considering how long ago that was. That is
definitely up
These
there.
guys they're still young, but they have to try and get to that level. But even though those are still look at Bold and Adams, and they were just another class apart. in the centre back pairing, or even Adams and Keane. So yeah, I
Akpos,
was very impressed with those two.
Akpos, what did you make of that pairing? Because I was watching that game from the back, you know how I always do. And every time Gabriel would be in the ball, he knew how to distribute. He knew how to be in position for Raya to be able to make a pass. Saliba at the same time, Haaland, I didn't even know if he was there. I know he had to, I'm pretty sure he knew he had to come to North London and play a game, but did he end up White Hart Lane by accident? Because I didn't see him. I didn't see him in the game at all. The only time he got the ball, guys, in my opinion, I'll throw this at you, Akpos, was in the middle of the park. And I remember that was the same thing Man United did to him last season. And he was getting the ball in the middle of the park and then he had nowhere to go. What did you see from it, Akpos? What did you reckon of those two, man? Dynamic duo, Gabriel and Saliba.
I think the game yesterday was, there was a comment coming from, was he Luke? I think Luke had something about the AC Milan Juve game and how this feature used to be a very tactical one. It was I think that defensive partnership seems like an Italian a Serie A made one, because these guys, they gave City practically nothing yesterday. There was no mistakes. They were winning the 50-50 tackles. And I think I saw some stats just before the show. William Saliba, I think he had he won all the duels he went in that game. I think 100% duels won in that game. So for me, I think looking at some of the defenders I've seen at this football club in the last couple of years, the likes of Skilashi, the likes of Mustafi, the likes of Pascal Sigan, the likes of Senderos, and looking at what we have now, I think I must appreciate this corps of centre back pairing and just like Brenny was saying, these guys have not even hit their peak yet. And we could see that I think they are still defenders who are developing, because the thing with defenders, as they get older, they tend to get better because they become more experienced. They become less rash in terms of throwing in tackles and all of that. So I'm excited to look forward for the next couple of years and the next couple of seasons on how much even more refined these guys could potentially be. And for me, Saliba and Gabriel, I've been shouting when Gabriel was out of the team for the starting of the season that for me, last season, Gabriel was our best defender. And I've been saying it, that we needed our best defender in the team. And it was a good thing that Mikel Arteta actually brought him back into the fold. And we could see how solid our defense was yesterday, keeping one of the best strikers, the best striker in the league right now, Erling Haaland, quiet for the whole 90 minutes, and you were the one even pointing it out, Steve, that he had no shot on target. So I think that was a very big, solid performance, and also kudos to the midfield. And I think without the midfield, the defenders would not have been able to put out that show that we saw yesterday. So because I think it was a detailed instruction for Mikel Arteta for the midfield to also support. And I think there were times when we had all of our players behind the ball. So I saw a comment about Eddie Nketiah not contributing in this game. I think, yes, in terms of the offensive part of the game, he didn't do too much. But in terms of the defensive part, he was making sure that he was pressing, he was running also. So I think this game, there was very little things for the strikers. I think both teams were solid defensively. They kept their shape for most part of the game. So kudos to our defenders and kudos to the midfielders and the rest of the team for supporting them in terms of the defensive duties.
Look, Akpos, Eddie Nketiah, we're going to talk about it real quick. He's the kind of player that we know isn't on the level that we would want him to be on. Right. Erling Haaland is a different breed of animal. This is a clinical striker. This guy is a threat with a quarter of a chance. For him not to have a shot on goal and Eddie Nketiah to have one. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't on target. And it's not something you'd be proud of. But Eddie Nketiah mustered a shot on goal, and Erling Haaland couldn't. Now, that could be games of our defence, and that could speak about Manchester City's defence not being able to handle, our build-up play. Either or. But at the end of the day, we all know that Eddie Nketiah is not...
Steve, we're getting that sound from your mic again. Maybe
I'm going to jump off real quick, guys. I'm going to jump out real quick. One more time. Sorry, guys. My bad.
But Brenny, what do you think about Eddie Nketiah's performance yesterday? Because for me, I couldn't see much from him in terms of getting into the action in those dangerous positions. I think he didn't do a lot to worry the Manchester City defenders. But what's your take on Eddie Nketiah's performance yesterday?
Well, I gave him a 7 yesterday for work ethic and the fact that I think he only had one shot that was off target.
Yeah.
But I looked at the extended highlights again, and I would have had to give him a 6. But I'm not going to knock his work ethic. But
True.
don't expect. We know what Eddie could do, but don't expect a player of his caliber to get you 20, 25 goals a season. Because for me, he'll score goals in this Arsenal side, but when you're a striker, I mean, I was a striker, and I always challenge myself to score goals, try and score enough set targets. You want to score 20 for the season, you want to score 25 for the season. And there were times where I didn't meet those targets, but I was close. You know what I mean? So I know he probably does set himself that, but really for what we have now, and don't get me wrong, I know he's a Haaland boy, and big up all the Haaland boys, but for me, we still need that elite striker because I feel with that defensive performance yesterday, what we all agree on earlier on with that 3-man midfield, can win midfield battles. When fully fit, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Odegaard, when all three of them are on song, we're unstoppable in that midfield. The fact that we've only conceded 6 league goals this season is actually testament to how well we have been defending. I know we've had some, crazy games with a couple of draws that we've had at home, but so I didn't mean to go off topic. But what I mean with Eddie, we need that. We need that elite level striker that will get us 20, 25 goals a season. And no disrespect to him, but when I looked at the game again, the extended highlights twice, I thought I gave him a 7. I thought, nah, it's a 6. So I didn't think he was bad yesterday. Don't get me wrong. He worked hard, but there's working hard. But then at the end of the day, you pay to score goals.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's
first and foremost. You pay to score goals. Ian Rush, you're a striker. I mean, that guy's legendary. When you're a striker, back in those days, obviously it was 4-4-2. When you're a striker, if you're not playing well for 89 minutes and then you score and you've got the winning goal, and that's the winning goal, 1-0, you've done your job. As a striker,
it's those moments.
Yeah, you want to see a lot more, but at the end of the day, yeah. First half, I thought that's got me in surely curling, but it was like it was wide, But yeah, but he had a better day than Haaland yesterday. That's all I can say.
I think Haaland's day yesterday was one that he'd never imagined himself happening at Arsenal. I think Haaland was going into this game thinking to himself he was going to bag a brace. I think everybody was worried about Haaland in this game. I was. I don't know about you guys. I was worried about Haaland and the impact he was going to have in this game, and we were not going to be able to shut him down. But unfortunately for Haaland and Manchester City, he was completely ineffective, completely nullified. And that was the same, I believe, for Foden. I think Foden in this game was even, like a shadow of his former self. I think the battle of the midfield was won by Arsenal, even in the first half with Jorginho and Rice. Not even Partey, but Jorginho and Rice made it very difficult.
Sure.
The introduction of Partey was like the killer blow. Just when you think that the midfield could not get stickier or harder, in comes Thomas Partey, and that's when I think we saw Declan Rice move forward. and allow him a little bit more freedom. And then the whole dynamic changed. The midfield changed completely. Thomas Partey came in, and he didn't seem out of place. I don't know about you guys, but Thomas Partey didn't seem out of place. He came in like he's been playing for the last month without a problem. And that was, for me, that was refreshing. To see Thomas Partey come in, and it was nothing. And Martinelli as well. Come in straight off the bench second half, and he's at full pace off the get-go. Apples and oranges between him and Trossard. There's another point, though, guys. Now, this is a sticking point. Kovacic. Now, I wanted to talk about this Kovacic shit.
Exactly.
Now, I saw Jota last. I saw lucky. I don't know about lucky. Jota last week had been given a yellow for just clipping the heels of a player. Kovacic came in from behind on a player, pretty much made no contact, nothing, got him in late, and came out with a yellow. In my opinion, that tackle was red all day. And if that wasn't a red, then you should have had 2 yellows. In my opinion, Kovacic shouldn't have even been on the pitch. Now, I'm going to throw this at you, Akpos. Your vibes on Kovacic. Was it a red straight off the bat? Or should he, or is it, or did the referee get it right? I don't believe he did. And the only reason I'm throwing this out there is because there's plenty of Liverpool fans right now that shouldn't be happy about this. Because if that's a yellow, if that first one is just a yellow, come on now.
Bro, you know we're talking about how poor the officiating in the Premier League is. This is a league that's supposed to be the so-called best league in the world, the league with most money, with all of the media attention. Everybody wants to play in the Premier League, but I think the only downside of the Premier League right now is the officiating. I watch a lot of Serie A games. I watch a lot of La Liga games, Bundesliga once in a while. But I think compared to the other top European league, I think the Premier League has got the poorest set of officials, where you see very inconsistent officiating. You see a tackle that it's a clear red for some of the games. In some features, you see other players getting away with it. And I think like there are some players, if that was a Casemiro tackle yesterday, I think that's a red card.
Yeah, all day. All day.
There are some players who the referees have considered hard tacklers. If they're just throwing a tackle, straight red. So, but for some other players, no. So, but for me, I think the Premier League really needs to get this referee situation right. And we've seen how they're using the video assistant referee. This is a technology that was supposed to make the job so much easier for these referees. But it still seems like the application also for the Premier League is very poor. It's very poor because if the on-field referee misses an action like that one, I'm expecting the VAR to call that as that attention that, okay, I'm not sure this decision is the correct one. Maybe, you need to go back to the screen, go watch it, and, have a rethink on what you think on this situation. So, but for me, that was a straight red card. If he doesn't get a straight red card there, that second tackle was a second yellow card. Let me play this. If that was Granit Xhaka yesterday, what happens?
See you later. Bye. See you later. That would have been a red straight off the bat. That first tackle, he would have been right off. David Luiz off. Him off.
So this is the inconsistency.
Patrick Vieira. Same thing.
Yes. Gone.
So,
Martin Keown.
These referees, they have some players they've considered hard tacklers in their mind, and for some of the players, they let them get away with this. So for me, I think that was a defining moment in that game, and the referees, they need to get their job so much better. They need to, if these guys can't do it, I think it's high time the Premier League start looking at getting referees potentially from outside of the UK to come get the job done, because I think there are a lot of better referees than some of the referees we've seen officiating the Premier League. Some of these guys are really poor. Even with VAR, which was supposed to make the job so much easier for them, they are still making horrendous mistakes. So for me, I think the organizers of the league, the top shots, they really need to look into this, because I think it is taking away all of the shine, all of this beauty of the Premier League is taking away all of that, the way I look at it, because just 8 or 7 games into the season, how many refereeing incidents have we gotten so far? How many errors have we seen so far? So I think there need to be consequences also for these referees making these actions, because when players make tackles, they get red carded. When referees are contending, coaches are contending their decisions, the referee and the FA give them ban, give them this. We want to see actions and consequences for these referees also, because if you are not performing, we want to see demotion. We want to see these guys going down to the lower division to officiate, and maybe some of them should go back to learn their courses and come back again to do a better job. But I think they really need to look into the officiating of this division.
Because the way I see it, guys, and I'll throw this at you, Brenny, if things didn't go right, Brenny, let's say this. Let's say Arsenal came out with a draw. Would everybody be screaming and yelling about that Kovacic tackle if we came out with only 1 point, or if we were to lose? Would there be uproar?
Yeah, they would be, definitely. I mean, there would be uproar. I mean, like myself and Bobby last night on our review, we were gonna talk about the what should have been a red from Kovacic, but we didn't talk about it in the end because we won, because there was other things to discuss. But if we'd have drawn or lost the game, that would have been a massive talking point, no doubt about it. But my take, yeah, what Luke's saying there, also I find with the FA, I mean, I doubt this happens, but the FA need to have a Monday meeting with these referees online, wherever, at their HQ, and say, listen, what happened yesterday, you bottled it, I'm afraid. Michael Oliver, that was terrible. That was, that was this, that was that. And we'll say, listen, you're not the stars. I know we want to employ referees who do not want to be the center of attention and just want to be professional, at all times. No bias to whoever. Do your job. That's what we're paying you for. Do your job. If you can't do your
afford
job,
it in this
then
league.
See ya.
Yeah. You can't afford. I don't think this league.
So that's
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree. Yeah.
That's my take.
I couldn't agree more.
That's my take on it, because when I was a child, never used to see this when you're watching, football games. So, I mean, refs and officials back then seldom got it wrong. You know what I mean? It wasn't every week. It wasn't every month. You know what I mean? There were mistakes made back in, I can remember the late 70s, early 80s. There were. But those refs just wanted to get on with their jobs. You know what I mean? They weren't the stars of the show. They didn't want to be the stars of the show. They came and did a job, and that's all they wanted to do. For how many years now we've been saying that? Even Garth Crooks said that years ago about Mike Dean. And it's got to come. It's got to stop. I mean, the FA got to clamp down. The FA got to have words with them. And I do feel for managers who, when they have a valid point to make, all of a sudden they're getting fined for saying something that was the truth. They didn't go and F and blind at that, and saying, "Oh yeah, he's shit, he's this, he's that." There's none of that over the years, and then they're getting fined for being honest or saying the referee got it wrong. I don't agree. I've never agreed with that. We could be professional managers, and what? You're going to get fined 25,000 by the FA because you spoke about something that the whole world saw, and that was the wrong decision. I hate that. It winds me up. It really does. But yeah, they got to step up, the FA, on these refs.
I couldn't agree with you more. The reason being is because it's ruining this wonderful game. This is the best league in the world. The best teams are playing in the Premier League. Some of the best players are playing in the Premier League. And it's fine margins. And you can see how fine it was for Man United, for Man City and Arsenal here. It was very fine. And a refereeing mistake, a blatant refereeing mistake, could completely destroy any momentum a team is building up in this game. And because it's such fine margin, it's only one chance that wins it. And going on to that one chance that wins it, we have Gabriel Martinelli coming in the 87th and getting that one chance. I can imagine now that if, to be perfectly fucking honest, if Gabriel Martinelli, let's just be honest, if this twat Michael Oliver had his way, and we all know how he was with Gabriel Martinelli had his way, he could have even sent him off. This particular referee, I don't have a hard spot for him. I just don't like this bloke. I really don't appreciate this referee at all. He does look like he's trying to be center of attention. He does look like he's trying to be the new Mike Dean. And to be perfectly honest, just like you've said, referees have a job to referee and to do it seamlessly. You don't draw attention upon yourself. Everyone's watching the game. You're just officiating it. And your job is to do it to the best of your bloody ability. And if you're not cut to it, if your ability is down here, then it's time to go. Honestly, Liverpool right now against Spurs were robbed. Absolutely robbed. And we could have been here today. But on a better note, we weren't. We had, I think, in my opinion, an outstanding performance. And I'm just before I get to Gabriel Martinelli, I'm gonna throw out a bit of props to another player on this pitch. For me, I thought in this game, Declan Rice in this game,
bro.
Wow, when they say £100 million player, bloody hell, clearing it off the line, bossing the midfield, sitting back and defending, changing his role when Partey comes in, doing it seamlessly. I think Declan Rice in this game was the boss of the midfield that he was for West Ham. I honestly believe that the $100 million that we've spent on Declan Rice is looking like a very good investment. Guys, what did you guys make? And I'll throw it at Akpos. Akpos, what did you make of Declan Rice's performance in this game?
Bro, I think Declan Rice was all over the pitch. It was everywhere for us yesterday. And like you rightly said, that is £100+ million well spent. And it tells the quality that he has added to this team. We've seen our team play with Thomas Partey. We know how formidable we could be when Thomas Partey is the defensive shield just before the defense in that midfield. And for a few number of games this season, we've seen us play without Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice has stepped up to the occasion, step up to the plate, and we can't really feel all of the absence without that we are playing without Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
That is the quality that Declan Rice has brought to this Arsenal team. And for me, defensively, it was solid. Offensively, it was also trying to be a ball carrier for the team, trying to move the ball from the midfield into the final third of the opposition's area. So for me, that was an all-round performance from Declan Rice. And just looking at our squad right now and looking at the quality we would potentially have when we have all our players fit, when you have Orient Timber coming back from injuries, when Saka, we don't know the extent of his injury. We hope there's not going to be a long layoff. When we have all our players fit, imagine the quality we would have in our team right now. So for me, Declan Rice has been a big plus for us, and he's showing that as a player who wants to grow at this football club, is a player who wants to take his game from the level he was at West Ham onto the next level where he could become potentially one of the key guys in a top football club. So for me, Declan Rice, big up also to Mikel Arteta, Gaspar Edu for what they did to convince Declan Rice to join. Because just before the game, we heard Pep Guardiola talking about how they went in for Declan Rice and how, to him, he said just maybe Mikel Arteta was more convincing. So for Mikel Arteta to actually go head to head with the best manager in the world, Pep Guardiola, for a player, and he was able to convince that player that, okay, you can come over. Because what Pep Guardiola said was he could play with what's his name, Rodri. So it was not as if he was going to come and deputize for Rodri and all of that. So they were also trying to sign him over to be a partnership, the player who partners with Rodri. So for Mikel Arteta to have been able to steal him out of the clutches of Manchester City, a treble-winning Manchester City side, we have to big up Mikel Arteta for the background, all the background work he did to make this transfer a successful one. And I'm hoping and praying that Declan Rice will continue to stay fit, and we will see more quality from him as the season ends.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm just looking at the comment from the football capital saying, boys, smile, it's free. Arsenal just beat City. You guys look like it was 5-0 City.
Trust us, we are happy. Yeah, we are happy to believe that.
Busho, if we smile too much, the celebration police might just start now. So we can't smile too much.
Celebrate.
The they will say it's just one game.
Yeah.
They come hunting for us. Happy Arsenal fans. What are you guys so happy about? It's always the case. Guys, I'm gonna look at it, like, for me, I've looked at, I think Jesus in this game, and I know Jesus in this game was playing out of position. I know Jesus was playing out in the right wing. I know we had Eddie Nketiah down in the middle of the park, but you know what? Look, I look at Jesus and him playing out on the right wing. Right, I know it is a goal, and I get it, Martinelli, but he was an absolute terrorist on the right side. Like, he was carving up City players. They were having a hard time. Brady, I was watching Jesus on that right hand side. He wanted to go central, and I was like, nah, dude, stay on the right, because you are wreaking havoc. It would be good if we had someone in the middle of the park that could finish something. But what he was bringing to that right hand side, now I know Bukayo Saka is a different animal, was a level of pressure that Manchester City defense was having a hard time trying to handle. Brenny, what did you Jesus' performance on the right wing for us, out of position?
He was superb yesterday. I mean, in my ratings, I gave him an 8. And he was terrorizing. He could have been up against like Aki Guardiola. I've never seen a performance on a right hand side like that for a long time, where he's just bullying people. You see, with Saka, he's different. Obviously, the way he cuts inside, and he'll just twist you inside out and just make you look silly. But Jesus not only does that, but he embarrasses you. He bullies you to the point where he sends you dad. He sends you, and with their, oh yeah, mum, dad, I got beaten up today by some little guy. You know what I mean? That's what it was like. And his performance deserved the goal yesterday. It really did. I mean, he worked hard with Ben White, even on the overlap as well, times. And I know there was a time where Rice was screaming the ball because he just thought, just square it to Rice, and he didn't, unfortunately. But yeah, I was impressed. It was a Mad Max performance yesterday. It was crazy. Brilliant.
Honestly, I couldn't agree with you more.
Too long, unless we get that elite striker, if we get that, obviously, if we were to get, say, an Ivan Toney in January, and there's times where I do agree now, you could rest Saka and put Jesus out on the right. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm like you guys. I'm so looking forward to the rest of the season. But big up Jesus.
Oh, mate, in this game, and look, guys, I know I'm getting calls that my mic is playing up at 50-50. Please let me know. I have made some changes. I don't know if I sound better or worse or this and
You
that.
are sounding perfect right now, so
Thank
keep it
you.
going.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. This Stan Kroenke has now, he owns the Aussie Gooner channel. I've just signed on a dotted line. My internet works perfectly fine. Arteta is good. Edu is good. Stan Kroenke is wonderful. Thanks for the guys in the chat to let me know my mic is going up shit creek. I appreciate that. Guys, the man of the minute, the man of half a game, the man who came off the bench to replace Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli, the firecracker, the man, the myth, the absolute animal on the left wing. He had Walker scared shitless. Honestly, as soon as he came on, it was a completely different dynamic to Arsenal's left-hand side. Zinchenko's link-up play was wonderful, and the goal that he scored, again with the players that were brought onto the pitch, of course, from Tomiyasu to Thomas Partey and Havertz. Honestly, Gabriel Martinelli in this game, for me, like, wow. He came onto that pitch like he was raring to go. And Akpos, I'm going to ask you, Gabriel Martinelli in this game, have you ever seen Gabriel Martinelli kick off that hard in the game? Because he kicks off like crazy, but in this game, when he came in in that second half, he came in like he had a fire. He had like a number. He had a fire behind him. He had a guy with a gun to his head. Like, seriously, I've never seen that before from Gabriel Martinelli. But he seemed like he was possessed. What did you make of Gabriel Martinelli's performance for only half of the game?
Gabriel Martinelli, I think this is what the Gabriel Martinelli was saw. This is what competition for places could do for you. We can see all over the squad right now that what Mikel Arteta is telling every player is there are no guarantee for places. We saw Trossard started the game. Gabriel Martinelli is a player who realized that okay, there are other players gunning for my jersey right now. So I think when he came on into that game, it was a different animal. Also, coupled with the fact that it was a player who has been injured for a while now. So for me, I did not really know what to expect because I don't know what level of fitness he had under his belt to come into the game. So, but I think when he came on, he showed that he really wanted it more. He showed that, okay, I needed to win this game. I need to contribute my own quarter for the team to push to get over to the finish line and get the needed 3 points. And I think when he came on, the City guys were worried about what he could do. We saw that Walker did not want to go forward too much because he knew that there is a player who's very quick, somebody who's if he beats you on the counter attack, I think it's going to take a lot of work to be able to recover and dispose him off the ball. So Gabriel Martinelli actually gave us a lot because I think when he came on, these City guys were a little bit tiring also. I think that was also an advantage. That was also an edge because he added us with that counter-attacking powers, that counter-attacking threat, that quick switch from defense to attack. So kudos to Gabriel Martinelli. I've had some conversations with some people who have felt like Gabriel Martinelli had his best season last season and he would not be able to replicate that kind of performance to be able to get double-figure goals. But I actually told them at the start of the season that for me, Gabriel Martinelli is not a finished article yet. He's still a player that's still developing. He's still a player that's the thing with Gabriel Martinelli for me is he wants to learn. It's showing that he has got that hunger. It's showing that he wants to thrive. It's showing like a player who is really focused on playing football. You know, they have these things with Brazilians, but some Brazilian players where they get to this level where they get distracted from the football business, and when maybe potentially when they come to they are becoming a star and all of that. But Gabriel Martinelli is looking so far like a player who's more invested in, his profession as a footballer, being very professional. So big up to Gabriel Martinelli, and I hope he's going to continue his development. And for me, I love that there is competition for places in this team right now. I think everybody is on their toes right now because if you know that if you are not going to be on your best, you will not be starting for this football club. And this is what we want to see. This is what we want to see all over the places. Look at Aaron Ramsdale. one of the best goalkeepers last season, and he has lost his place in the team. So if I'm a guy like Gabriel Martinelli and I'm coming back from an injury, bro, I want to give my 100% to make sure that I get back into the team as fast as possible, because this could be potentially be what makes you from losing your starting spot at the team. And I think he's back fit now, and he's knocking back at the manager's door that I want to be back starting again. So this is what we want to see from these players more this season.
Mate, look, honestly, I think you're 100% right. Gabriel Martinelli, remember, he was the man who took over from Emil Smith-Rowe when Emil Smith-Rowe was injured. And he definitely took that opportunity. And now he's not letting go of that left wing. That left wing is mine. You know what I mean? When I come back, I want to take what's mine. And to be honest, I think the way he came in on that in that second half, I thought he was going to ease into it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brandy. I want you to chime in on this. I actually thought he was going to start off at a not a mediocre pace, but a fair pace, just to get himself warm. I was just surprised that he came out like a firecracker. In your opinion, what did you think? I mean, I think when Gabriel Martinelli came on, I think it's like the whole team woke up, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did. It did. And it's that, you know what it is with Martinelli, it's got to a point now, the way it's incredible that was his first goal of the season, because for me, he's played well since the start of the season, in my opinion. And we know he was unlucky with that injury, you know, against Everton, but the way he came out of the blocks yesterday, that was like an Olympic sprinter, man. You know what I mean? It was like, wow. And I was thinking, oh, just you will think, just take it easy, you know, you break down again. You know, don't want you to break down. Please, I hope you don't break down. But he just looked strong, he looked fit. He'll definitely start against Chelsea, you know, I'm sure. But he was exceptional yesterday. It kind of had this X factor about him. It's like it's something that he's got from Gabriel Jesus, because Gabriel Jesus has that fire in his belly. You know, when we've always had players over the years that have that fire in their belly, and Gabriel Jesus has it. You know, we're going back to Thierry Henry had it, Ian Wright had it. You know, that fire in their belly. Alexis Sanchez, they all had that fire in their belly. You know, and I find with South American footballers, when you get a lot of them, they're the hungriest footballers I've probably ever seen in my life. You know, all through watching football, they are so hungry and so determined. You know, and what Martinelli, what I love about him as well, is that he does. I mean, I agree with BX. He does love the club. You'd think he was a Haaland boy, the way, you know, he conducts himself around his, you know, his teammates and everyone. You'd think he's a Haaland boy, and, you know what I mean? And he acts like that. And I'll tell you what, he's like those overseas legends that we've had over the time. He's going to be one of those as well, you know. And for me, Trossard has got a lot to do to get back into this 11. He's got a lot to do, because Gabriel Martinelli is just on another level at the moment. He really is. But I was so pleased with performance. He deserved his goal yesterday. You know, he definitely woke that team up. You know, that's where there was that belief that we could win this game, when he came on. And then when Mikel Arteta made the right substitutions, you know, and that's where we thought, you know what, we can nick a goal here. But yeah, kudos to Martinelli. I mean, I gave him a 9 yesterday, and that was only for one half. So yeah,
and you couldn't mark him in less than a 9. You couldn't give him less than a 9. You couldn't. That half of football that he played, for God's sake, that was at 100 mile an hour, just like you said. Mo Farah would be watching and going, "This guy's got moves." You know, he's doing it with a ball. And Mikel Arteta, just like you said, a great point. And that's another point I want to get into. Mikel Arteta in this game. Now, we know that he has made mistakes. And I've been one of those people that has come out and I have hammered him for putting Havertz in as a number 8. Very happy not to see him as a number 8 in this game. In my opinion, it was probably a great move. Yeah. I think Havertz as a false 9 or as a 9 came on at the right time. In my opinion, I think Mikel Arteta showed us his quality and his class here. He's been beaten by Pep Guardiola time and time and time again. But in this game, it just seemed to me like he'd already figured out every possible angle that City were going to try and use against us, and the boys were ready for it. We were starting to look a lot like City. City was starting to look a lot like we do when we're under the cosh. And in my opinion, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to ask your opinions of the manager. I'll give you mine. I think, in my opinion, Mikel Arteta got this game 100% right. I could not ask for anything more, from the substitutions to the starting lineup to the way we took charge of the game to the formation. I think it was a perfect performance from the manager. And if I was going to rate Mikel Arteta, I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing. I think Mikel Arteta in this game is 10 out of 10 all day. I can't knock him for one thing. Even the goalkeeper selection, I can't knock him for one thing. I would still not mar it with a 10 out. I would still give him a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And I'm gonna throw it at Akpos. Akpos, Mikel Arteta, and I know you want to give some props to Mikel Arteta because you and him are mates, right? And because Stan Kroenke now owns the Aussie Gooner, right? I have to give props because I'm going to get the sack, right? He owns like 70% of the Aussie Gooner channel now, so now I don't have any say. Much like Arsenal did at one stage. What's your opinion of honestly, your vibes on Mikel Arteta after this performance? Like, to be perfectly honest, I was like, wow. Like, you just old line versus young line, and the young line just come out on top saying, I'm going to show you something, son. You know what I mean? What were your thoughts on Mikel Arteta and the way he shaped up this squad and how he took the game to Pep Guardiola?
Bro, I think my rating for Mikel Arteta in this game is going to be a 10.5 out of 10 for me, because if he makes one mistake, we lose this game. If he makes one wrong mistakes in terms of the substitute, that could just be throwing away this game to City, bro. I think it got his tactics spot on from the get-go. It got his tactics spot on from the substitution for me. In fact, that's a big key. We want to see our manager, making these substitutions in games that seem to be we're not having our best play. We are not trying to. We are not being able to, carve out the opposition. We want to see our manager making this substitution that actually swings the pendulum into our favor, and that was what he did with the three substitutions he made yesterday. So for me, to come up against the manager like Pep, also considering the fact that we've not beat them for so long, and for him to get the best out of him after what they achieved last season, for me, that's a big win for him. And that is also, I think, this would call for belief, even more belief for the players to have more faith in what the manager tells you, because we know Manchester City is a monster of an opponent. So for us to actually get this victory, I think this is going to be a very big confidence boost for the squad also, and also for Mikel's reputation also with the players, because sometimes when you have some particular team that keep beating you, and when you want to play them, some players might have this tendency of not to believe in what the manager is saying, because they in their own minds they might have also accepted defeat, because these guys are our super team. How are we going to beat them? The manager is just saying the usual, but how are we going to beat them? So for me, I think this is a big plus for Mikel Arteta, and it shows that he's actually improving. He's actually learning from his mistake, because some of the errors he made last season, I think is beginning to correct them. He's beginning to be able to manage the games so much better, bringing in players that would come in and change the tide of the game. So for me, I want to appreciate the manager and the good work he's doing so far, because when things are going bad, a lot of us are very quick to call him out. And when things are going good now, we should also return the same energy, return the same vibe, and also give him his flowers, give him his props when he's doing good. So shout out to Mikel Arteta and all the guys that are doing the good work, because I think the job is not alone for him. He's got his backroom staff. When he's going bad, at the end of the day, we are shouting Mikel Arteta, but he's got his own crew. So also big ups to his team, and for all the contribution they are doing to actually being able for the team to actually being able to get this victory over the finish line. So for me, I need to give the managers his flower now, because if it goes bad, we will also come out here and call him out. So big up Mikel Arteta and his guys.
That's right. Brenny, your thoughts on Mikel Arteta and his performance? What do you reckon? Your vibes on Mikel Arteta and the way he approached this game, the way he handled this game, and how he handled Pep? Because I reckon he handled Pep. You know, he took liberties with Pep.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you know what? Arteta, in a review show yesterday, I gave him a 9 out of 10. And reason why I gave him a 9 out of 10 was basically because I saw the starting 11. I wanted to see Ramsdale, and I didn't want to see Jesus and Eddie together. I wanted to see one or the other. Yeah. And also I think I had Saka in my lineup, but obviously he wasn't fit to play. Yeah. But what Arteta has got, what he's got right for me against Chelsea, even though I like I said to Bobby yesterday, I don't know if you saw a review show, but I cannot believe Raya came out of there with a clean sheet, and I'm still amazed by that. He's with Zinchenko. What I know when it comes to the inverted role, I don't really want to see any inverted play, because I just want us to be like how we were a year ago, where we was just on one. You know, we was on another level in terms of our football. The football wasn't there today, but it was disciplined. It was controlled second half, you know. And if the football had been there, I would have given Arteta a 10 out of 10, because we can play better than that. We know we can, regardless of who we're up against. We know City didn't you know, they went at their best. We weren't either. But why I gave, because at first my marks were low, but why I went to 9 is because Mikel got the subs absolutely spot on. He got it so right, you know, and he deserves everything. Yes, I mean yesterday, it's, you see with Mikel, he can push on, because there are times where I've even thought, you know, can he take this team further? Can he take the squad further? I feel he can, but then I think he knows what he's got to do in January as well. I mean, for me, if we can get in 2 more players, I think we can push on. We need that centre forward, and we need someone that's covered for Saka. You know, I'd even take a Jadon Sancho. People may laugh at me, but, you know, for him, he wouldn't be bad cover at all. So, yeah, and also what I feel he can do now, and with all this belief, I think he's now, well, we've won, 3 seasons in a row, we've won at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
He'll go into that game with full of confidence, you know, to try and look for the 4 in a row. And he can probably feel, well, you know what? This performance, even though we're at home this season, it's all about the big tests are away from home. When we go to the Etihad, when we go to Old Trafford, I don't know why I'm saying that's a big test, but you know, but Anfield, you know, so those, you know what I mean? Well, we haven't won there for a while. And we should have won there last season, you know. So it's these big tests to come, and if the team, and if they show a lot of fight in those games, and we win, draw, lose, or we lose, we draw, we go down fighting, I'm not going to knock the manager if I see everyone giving it their all. So yeah, so no, props to Arteta. You know, great result yesterday, and he the squad, everyone, we can kick, fans, we could all kick on from now. So big up.
Yeah, I think people have to give credit where credit's due. When they want to criticize, of course, you come in with the same energy. Mistakes are made. You know, you point out the mistakes, you adjust, you move on. But when somebody's doing well, you have to praise, regardless if you like the person or not. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knows how much I don't like James Maddison.
Yeah.
But I'll sit there and say he's a good player. He's a good player. And if he was in the Arsenal squad, yeah, I'd start him. I wouldn't like it, but I'd start him because he's a good player. but it's just some people you don't like. And that's another thing with Mikel Arteta and some of the fans, like, we don't like him because of this and that and all of the above. If he gets you a result, I've said it before, I don't care if Krusty the Clown is my manager. As long as I win the Premier League, I don't care who's behind the helm. Doesn't bother me. I don't care who you call the gaffer. Doesn't bother me at all. BX Gunner comes in with a good question. Guys, is this Mikel's biggest win besides the FA Cup win?
He has won 2 Community Shield.
He's on Community Shields, so that's why I'm a bit.
So I can't really classify this one as his biggest win, beside the FA Cup.
I look at that.
I'd say no.
Do you know what? I say no right now, but ask us again if we win the league this season, then I would say yes.
That's a good point.
I would say yes.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. That's a very good. If we do, then this will be the biggest win in his career, because honestly, it'll be down to these 3 or 4 points that we pick up here, there, and everywhere. Guys, to really wrap up, I mean, I was going to go through and do player ratings, but to be perfectly honest, I know all of us are going to be giving pretty much every player on the pitch, apart from Raya, a decent rating. Okay, and I know the Raya rating is probably going to be like 3s or 4s. And it would be deserved that it's a 3 or a 4. But I'm pretty sure every other player on the pitch would be sitting in and amongst the 8s and 7s, apart from probably Gabriel Martinelli, who'd be sitting on a 9. So I'm not going to jump into player ratings. I'm just not. I just think to myself that this team has gone above and beyond, and every single player out there has put in a bloody performance, except for Raya, who pretty much can thank Gabriel and Saliba and his whole defensive line for saving his fucking ass, and especially Declan Rice for clearing that one off the line. Sure. He should be buying Declan Rice a fucking drink. But guys, look, before I finish up the show, I want to thank everybody that's been in the chat. Anyone that's come in late, look, thank you very much for joining us. But I want the boys to just let you guys know where you can find them, their social media and yada. Brenny, can you let the guys know where they can find you, maybe on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever it may be? Just shout it out, man, so people can go through and see if they can find you and follow you.
Yeah, cool. It's definitely Brenny K74. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter, or X. I'm still getting used to calling it X. And you can also find me on the Armory TV as well. So big up to yourselves.
Big up, bro. Big up. I'm gonna have the description. I'm gonna have Brenny's socials in the description, guys, and I'll got Akpos's one in there. I haven't done Brenny's ones yet, but I will. It will be ready to rumble. So when you go down to the bottom, you'll find all of his links in the description. My guy Akpos, who has got a channel. He has got a channel, and I'm waiting to get on. Right? There's something with me that he doesn't like, so I'm not allowed on. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. I don't know. Maybe I don't meet the criteria or something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, it's okay. You can come here. It's okay. You know, I'll accept you for who you are because I'm that kind of guy. But go, please shout out your channel that I don't go on.
Well, shout out to everybody who has been on the stream today with us, because I think it's been a very good conversation, and we must say shout out to you guys who have been dropping in all of the comments, and don't forget to drop in the likes. If you're just finding this channel for the first time, don't forget to support the channel and drop in that subscription to support the channel and all the good work the Aussie Gunner is doing, because I think it takes a lot of work to come out here and do what it's doing. So big up the Aussie Gunner too. I know he does not want to blow his own trumpet, but I could help him do that on the stream now. So big up for all the good work you're doing and all the good work you're also doing in the Arsenal community. So, but guys, you can always find me on here. This like my second home, like I would say, about One Touch TV. Also check out One Touch TV. What the Nigerian Englishman is also doing. Big Arsenal fan, big Gunner fan also. big Gunner fan also, and hopefully I'll be able to put out more content and more stuff on my channel. The football Football Talk Shop, hopefully very soon. So, but guys, thanks for being on the show with us today, and thanks for having me on the stream, brother. They also go there. I appreciate it each and every time.
Man, I really appreciate you guys. Honestly, I couldn't have done this show without you. Everyone in the chat, big up. This channel's hit a little over 500 subs, and if it wasn't for you guys, it would be nowhere near there. And it's appreciated. It's 500 real people that have subscribed to this channel. And yes, we're doing it all together. This YouTube community of ours, you know, from the Armory TV to the Aussie Gooner to Football Capital to the Football Talk Shop, you know, Kyle Walsh Gunner, this little community, it might be a small community, but it's a community with a lot of different opinions and valid points. You know what I mean? If you're looking for a different vibe, a different this, that, and all of the above, you come over to us, and we're not giving you something that's going to be sort of dictated to us by, you know, the higher uppers or scripted. We're giving you the same opinion that you're going to get out in the street from real Arsenal fans. The only difference is we're just doing it in front of a camera. That's it. You know what I mean? We keep it real. We keep it true. Our opinions are just ours. We're not coming out here with agendas. And that's what I love about our community. Agendas aside, chit chat real, you know what I mean? And so if you guys could, please check out those channels too, because to be honest, it's all love, love, love. You know what I mean? Our little small community, we stick together. You know, if we don't stick together, we ain't got much. So, guys, look, I'm going to leave it there. And thank you to my co-hosts. Thank you to everyone who has jumped in and checked out this content. If you're watching it back, please check out my guys' channels. If you guys could, check them out on Instagram, on Twitter. The links will be in the description below. And look, from my guys, from everyone out in Australia, from Arsenal Football Club, from the Cronkies to Mikel Arteta, to Gabriel Martinelli, to Nathan Aki's face, right? Okay. I had to do it. It's Uru, guys. It's Uru.